Hey guys, thank you for coming back to Good Time Hunting, and today we've got an incredibly special episode, an incredibly special review, and it's going to be all about this, the latest offering from VivoBarefoot, their tracker Deacon shoes. Now the reason that this shoe is so special to me is because I actually had the opportunity to see these about 6 months ago when VivoBarefoot sent me the brand new iteration of this, when it was first in its conceptual stages to test out. So I have another pair of shoes that look exactly like this but with a different colorway that I've had the opportunity to wear for about 6 months now, providing insight and feedback to Vivo where possible. Now, the first thing that I want to bring up about this shoe compared to any other that Vivo has in their lineup right now is the one thing that stands out above all else, and that is the aesthetic. This shoe is very, very clearly different from anything that Vivo has in their range to date. Most notably is the colorway on both the main body of the shoe and of course the sole. And the reason for that is twofold. One, it's because Vivo wants to start attracting a larger audience. They are a niche product, their prices are currently quite high. Expanding the audience is going to allow them to potentially in future start bringing down the cost of the shoes that they make to make them a little bit more affordable on a mass market scale. And a big part of that is actually increasing the aesthetic appeal of the shoe. One of the original shoes, the ones that I have on my feet right now, is the Primus Lite. This is one of the first offerings that VivoBarefoot had, and when you compare the two side by side, you can see that just aesthetically, there is a colossal difference between them. A lot more time, thought, and effort and energy has gone into making these shoes. The function is also completely different. Now, Vivo peg this, the Decon, as an outdoor hiking shoe. They did send me two models, the low top Decon, which is what I've got right now, and the high top Decon, which is a very, very aesthetically pleasing shoe, much more geared towards hiking in my opinion, just because they've got a bit more in terms of ankle support. Now, unfortunately, and this tends to be a running theme with Vivos that are being released at the moment, I found that the high top version, although they were the exact same shoe, theoretically the exact same size, just didn't fit. And this is the similar issue that I had most recently with the latest pair of Primus Trail SG, the soft ground iteration that Vivo's just come out with. There's something going on in their production at the minute that just means that the shoes aren't fitting true to size, which is a real shame. But this shoe, the low top version that does fit me nicely, has so far been an incredible shoe. Where I've used it, however, is very different to what Vivo has actually suggested. So this shoe, for me, has become a gym shoe. If I look at this, to me, it looks incredibly similar to shoes like the Nike Metcon, which for anyone that does CrossFit or any style of hybrid training is the absolute pinnacle, or has for a long time been the absolute pinnacle of cross-training shoe. To me, that's what this shoe is. This is what Vivo should have been aiming their marketing towards. Less hiking, this is a training shoe. And the reasoning behind that, the reason that I really stand true to this is if you can see, just here, let me see if I can adjust the focus. If you see just here, what you're gonna see is knurling, which is different to the rest of the tread of the shoe. Now that knurling, you can actually use for climbing ropes, which is a very CrossFit-esque movement. All you're effectively doing is digging that portion of your foot into the rope, and that provides traction to allow you to climb up. There's only one other type of shoe on the market that allows you to do that, and that is a CrossFit shoe, something like the Metcon. So when I look at these shoes, I don't think hiking, I think CrossFit training, getting into the gym, giving those sessions a go. And that's reinforced when you take out the thicker thermal insole that Vivo provides for these. As a hiking shoe, they normally come as standard with the thermal insole, which gives an incredible amount of thermal insulation when you are out on the trails. When you take that out, this transforms this shoe. This absolutely transforms the Tracker Deacon from what you could use hiking in the Lake District, or Scotland, or wherever, into a purpose-built training shoe. It's got a lovely flat base profile, which is perfect for any Olympic lifting, weightlifting movements. It's got a brilliant traction on the sole, which is well suited to any rubber gym surface, any wooden lifting platform. You get an amazing amount of traction on this. And also it's got stuff like nice little details like the rope climbing. It's got a nice sock fitting. It's got ventilation through the front of the shoe so that your foot can actually breathe. This to me is an incredible lifting shoe. Now I have used it for purpose. I have used this shoe for what Vivo said it was for, which is hiking. And I have some complaints. The first complaint that I have is this combo material right here. The leather into what I think is leather, it might be plastic as well, into the inside of the shoe. And what this creates is a very, very stiff back portion. Incredibly stiff, in fact. So stiff that it's actually given me blisters on the heel of my foot, which is something that I have never had from a pair of Vivos, and it's something that I haven't had from any shoe in quite some time. And that came from repetition. It came from repeatedly moving forward, from walking, from hiking, from bashing up and down mountains and trails. They just wore down so much onto the back side of my foot, I ended up with these huge, huge blisters that I ended up having to pop. Now, that might fade over time, but what I found really interesting was that it's the first time I've ever had blisters from a Vivo shoe. The other thing that I do not like for hiking is the ventilation that I love for working out in these shoes. But the ventilation goes right the way down to the very end of the toe. Now, while that's fantastic for letting your foot breathe, water ingress is almost guaranteed. You would have to be hiking with no condensation on the ground at all to really feel comfortable in these shoes and to make sure that water ingress wasn't happening. Unfortunately though, it's this ventilation and it's this leather style that allows that water ingress to happen. Second to that is this sole, this tread pattern, which is brilliant in the gym, brilliant for rubber surfaces, brilliant for wooden floors, is ineffective on any wet rock or tarmac. If you go out running in these shoes on tarmac conditions which are a bit wet, concrete, slippy floors, rocks, trail running, if you do any of that, I guarantee you will end up on your ass. And this is actually, when they're in the concept phase, something that I brought up with Vivo. I said to Vivo, please can you put the Michelin grips from these style of shoes, they're proper hiking boots, onto the bottom of the new Deacons. The reason for it is these have incredible traction, incredible grip, incredible durability on trails. This is a very, very different lug pattern. This is completely different lug pattern. And although, yes, it's suited to some environments, if you're on grass, if you're on gravel tracks, anything like that, this provides good traction and tread. Unfortunately, wet rock, which you come across quite often when you're hiking, it is not the one. So the real takeaway from this shoe, that if you were to just have a little 2-minute soundbite, is that they are fantastic. They are brilliant shoes, really nice construction, fantastic aesthetic, a complete step away from anything that Vivo has done in the past to date. However, they are not suitable for hiking, in my opinion. I do various different, mixed assortment hiking. I'm sure there'll be plenty of people that disagree with me and say this is the dog's bollocks, but if I'm honest, to me, this shoe is fantastic for training. I personally do and will continue to wear these shoes for going down to the gym, for doing CrossFit workouts, weighted workouts, interval workouts, anything that is based around having really good contact with the floor, having a nice flat foot, having a lovely wide toe box that allows or would benefit from ventilation through the foot whilst you're doing that training session. Anything that historically I would have worn Nike Metcons or Reebok Nanos to do, I would get rid of those in favor of this shoe. It really is that good for that purpose. Is it for hiking? No, not in my opinion. Primarily because of the traction. You just do not get enough. Primarily because this leather allows water ingress. Primarily because this ventilation patch just lets water piss right in. If you're doing a short little hour-long hike, up the road, back down, taking the dogs out for a walk, whatever, fine. Just be very wary of the type of socks you wear, just so you don't get that blistering. But if you're thinking about doing multiple hour, multi-day hikes, this is not the shoe for you, in my honest opinion. Also, when you're buying, please make sure you use the Vivo size guide, because there has been too many occasions now where I've just bought the size or gotten the size that I would normally get, and it hasn't proved to be the right size for me. So please do take your time while you check this shoe out. Use the Vivo size guide. Maybe order 2 pairs if you are going to get it, just to make sure that the size that you do end up sticking with does fit and isn't going to cause you any irritation. Hopefully this has been an insightful and interesting review for you. If you have any questions, any input, any thoughts of your own, please feel free to put them down in the comment section. I love it when we turn the comments into conversation, so please feel free to ask away or add your own input. But apart from that, thank you so much again for watching a Good Time Hunting video. If you have any suggestions on what I should shoot in future, please do let me know. But otherwise, have a fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you in a video again very soon.